Okay, again, I don't think they need to get out and, that's just, I don't want to discourage business, but hey, call City Hall, there's a guy doing this, we got complaint, not complaint, well, I guess it'd be a complaint, sidewalk work, retaining walls being done, and so forth like that.
Yeah, feel free to give some buzz if you guys see something. I mean, the community's our eyes, like today I had 3 guys on, but 2 of them were out on search and rescue for 90% of the day today.
Okay.
So sometimes we just don't have the eyes that the community has. So we encourage the community involvement. If they see that business, call us. We'll get to it.
Okay, good, thanks, Sheriff.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Municipal Work Judge, you have his report there, City Attorney.
And so I was just going to report for the judge, he's having trouble connecting, but he said normal week things are going well, and I do not have a report.
Okay. City Clerk. City Treasurer. Okay. City Public Works Supervisor. Not here tonight. City Water Operator, City Engineer.
I'll just be quickly, all my projects, they're gonna wrap up this Friday, actually tomorrow, I guess, for this winter. They will go, and what they're doing tomorrow, they're doing all the patchwork around town, so all the patches down in Ogden and everything else that we're going to our city streets will be taken care of tomorrow and out of the way. And their intention is to come back, March 1st, to maybe start back on that project. So, finish up tomorrow, a little cleanup work, just securing their equipment next week, and make sure we get town in March.
How are all those trenches supposed to be left for the winter? Are they just putting coal patch in there? Or is that-
No, I actually had a meeting today, which was going to go to the next thing with NDOT over this and their schedule. And so what I was told in the meeting today, they were going to hot patch all those things. So they should all be hot patches going through. The other thing that we did bring up in that meeting was the city had applied for, I talked to Jennifer about it today, for this grant for potential sentinel sign going in. And so there was just discussion on that, how they can make a time frame, different things that were going on. So I told them that I would go back and find the current status of it. I did get that with Jennifer, and I got back to her this afternoon on the status of where we are with that. And so my understanding is November 4th is the date that they will review them, decide, and we'll know, and November 5th is the date that they can begin to what they need to do. I expressed to NDOT that I believe the only way this can meet the project would for them to, for lack of a better word, consider right now that we are going to be successful, so they can continue to do everything that they need to do paper-wise in order, so that if it comes November 4th and we are successful, that they have the paperwork in place with the contractor and change order from them. Because that's the only way I think it can happen, is through a change order through that contract, where we come to an agreement, we in return take those funds, provide it back to NDOT, pay for it, and NDOT handles it all through their project. And so my recommendation with it, like I said, just proceed as you think it's going to happen, get all the paperwork together, so if it does in fact happen, great, we got the paperwork together. If not, just put it on the side. All right, any questions for me? All right,
Thank you. City Building Official. We'll move on to item 5, reports, City Council. Councilwoman Beecher.
Nothing further.
Councilman Oliver.
Nope, already got off my football.
Okay. Councilman Carson.
nothing.
Okay. I just want to report to the council that after the council determined that they wanted to go out and have the city apply for one of those travel and medical grants, we did work with NDOT and Q&D to determine, how much that would cost to do one of those sentinel signs and put them back in. They have been, they went above and beyond in getting that work put back together and being willing to kind of try and meet that really short timeline. Councilman Spear determined that they'd like to do the one coming in from the north, on the north end of town on US 93, so it's going to be the train one. And hopefully we're successful in that. It's going to be one of the larger asks for the Travel and Med grant, but they had some money to get rid of, and if they can get rid of it, we'll spend it. So hopefully they say yes. Item 6, items for discussion, possible action only of the Ely City Council, the consent agenda. We have minutes from September 24th and bills from October 9th. I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Kurt's got it. Any discussion or questions or corrections on any of this? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Carries unanimous. We'll move on to meeting business. Mayor Robertson, discussion for possible action, approval to use a collection agency for past due accounts. Treasurer Trask was able to talk to the collection agency. We talked a little bit, or we tabled this anyway. The thought being that, in discussion with some of the other staff, that instead of doing the lien process, going to collections would put a bigger incentive on people to pay because it's hitting them in their credit scores, rather than going through this paperwork-heavy process on some of these out-of-town property owners, especially in the county for some of this landfill stuff. There's really not much of incentive to pay if there's a lien on the property for an amount you don't want to pay and you're never selling the property. So, could you talk about what you found?
Yes, I contacted National Business Factor because we use them for our billing service, EMS billing service. And she said due to that, we can have the same rate as what we're already contracted with them on that. It's easy enough. She sent me the contract, we sign and we start. She said we can only go back 4 years worth. And if we're gonna send any of them that have the liens on, she doesn't think that's a problem, but she wants to check with her legal first on that. But other than that, she said, as far as keeping track, there should be no trouble keeping track of what they're collecting on who they're collecting, which accounts and stuff, so that we shouldn't have any problem applying it to the correct accounts.
So if they're only going back 4 years, if someone's been delinquent for 15 years but is currently also delinquent, can we collect that but only up to the 4-year mark?
4 years,
Okay.
yes. The other thing is what they collect, well, the full amount they collect will go against, the way I see it working is it's got to go against their account, and then what we end up paying, the percentage we pay National Business, basically I have to create a new expense account to put that expense in,
So what is that percentage?
30%.
And then our attorney had a couple thoughts on, should we discuss whether we should just do this going forward or turn in all of the past due accounts that are currently past due, or?
Right, and so they indicated they wanted to check into it. I don't foresee any issues with that because it's money owed. And so as far as collecting money owed, we can seek. Oh, so I just see that any money owed, we can seek to collect. And so I would not see an issue with going back and seeking to collect the money that's owed. And then we do still have the lien option. We would still keep the lien option if we're unable to. We can place a lien in accordance with our ordinance and seek to get those monies either through the lien or collections or both.
So this was an idea we wanted to float in front of the council and see if there was an appetite for that.
The other tidbit I forgot to mention was, or neglected to mention, is that once we turn it over to them, they have up to 90 days to, they'll send out notice, and then if they don't collect within 90 days, that's when it goes against their credit report. So once we turn it over, it's not going to automatically hit the credit report. They've got 90 days to work with the credit collectors.
Any questions from the council?
I'd like to have the attorney state again what he said. My brain was running one way when he was talking to me. So what we have on the books right now, you don't recommend going back?
No, I think we can. And so what Ms. Trask indicated is that their attorney will have to look at it as well to make sure there's no issues. They didn't foresee any issues. I don't foresee any issues. If it's money owed, we can seek to collect it.
Because she mentioned 4 years, you're saying.
Well, that's all they can go back, and so that's what we do.
So how much of a job is that with the building department, going back and finding that?
I think it's just doing a history that you plug it in. I'll have to check with the else there, but from what I remember, you just pull the history and it shows, what's 90, 60 days.
You
You
know,
should do
because
an individual history that goes back further.
I had quite a discussion with you and afterwards came on, and I understand completely, like Councilor Norman Beecher said several months back, we will collect the hard money. It's just like we're collecting now on the lien process. You know, for example, the last meeting, we wrote off quite a bit on some property, but we did collect what he actually was the landfill. And the majority of the lien, what I see on there is landfill. So you can't cut off somebody's landfill, you know,
Yeah.
shut the water off. So it's
That's
a
what I
land-
explained to her, but she also did say, once we send the contract, if we decide to go forward with this, we need to send the backup as to our ordinances, whatever mandates these people have to pay this, so that they have that information. But I think it shouldn't be a problem to go back on somebody's history and do it. It's just, I'm curious what our time, you know, how that will tie up the gals, you know, the process that we want to go through, that I haven't come up with yet.
So I'll give you took a block.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions or discussion from the council? I'll entertain a motion on this.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. We'll move on to item 2, Councilman Spear, discussion for possible action, review of White Pine County Sheriff's Office Nevada Avenue traffic study and approval to reduce the speed limit on Nevada Avenue from 25 miles an hour to 20. Do we want to table this in deference to Councilman Spear's absence? I know this has been a discussion with him in the past.
He didn't indicate that we wanted the table.
Okay. Sheriff Enright, I see you guys did a study there.
We did, we put that speed trailer on Nevada Avenue for the last 2 weeks. Got a report on that. There is a large volume of traffic that's going down there, but I really believe it's because of the repairs that were done on Ogden Avenue. I don't know if you've driven down Ogden Avenue, but it's super rough. And so I think people are diverting from Ogden and going down to Nevada, which has increased their traffic flow. So there is an extensive amount of traffic using Nevada Avenue right now. The report didn't show really a lot of speed violations, but the thing that I like is consistency, and I hope council does too, because both surrounding streets are 20, and then you have Nevada, which is kind of out there, probably really just 25, and I kind of question why that was, and there's really no explanation about it. So I don't know if that's just maybe an oversight when the speed limits were put in there. So if you're thinking about consistency, maybe we should just, go ahead and move forward with the 20 mile per hour, but excessive speeds really don't substantiate that. It'd be more of just bringing things into format with
So,
my suggestion.
after looking at the report, like you said, it seems unnecessary to drop, it doesn't seem like people are speeding excessively there.
No, if you look at the charts, they just don't substantiate it. And the thing that we do with the speed trailer too is we've learned over the years that we actually have the light turned off when the speeds get higher, because what we found is that people won't actually see how fast they can go. So we don't give them that option anymore. It just it does record their speed, but the flashing lights turn off. So they don't.
I was wondering why they shut off.
Yeah. Exactly. We've learned in the past when we've done these studies or tried to help the communities get the speeds down, that it actually, some of our locals like to actually put it to the metal and see how fast they can go. So it kind of deters what we're trying to enforce there.
It looked like the vast majority of people are doing about 20 miles an hour anyway.
Yeah. So your department then, just to be consistent, would prefer.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting because if you look at the speed study, the officer that I had to go down and set up the trailer actually thought that the speed was 20. So I had to readjust the figures when I did the statistics for you guys, because when I pulled the reports, they were confusing to me. So I walked down and talked to the officer who set the trailer, and he's like, well, the speed limit's 20. And I'm like, no, it's 25. That's why we're doing the study. And he was surprised. So that just kind of showed me that you know, everybody kind of thinks that Ogden, Nevada, and Ely Avenue are all the same speed limit going through that area, which is the 21.
The following program is sponsored by The Greek, Ely's Radio Shack dealer at 570 Altman in downtown Ely, and brought to you as a public service by Georgetown Media in Ely, Nevada. Ely City Council meeting, October 22nd, 2020.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ray was supposed to be here for the invitation, but I didn't see him. We'll move on to the roll call.
Mayor Robertson,
Present?
Councilman Parsons,
Here.
Councilman Allworth,
President.
Councilwoman Beecher. Here. Councilman Blangus and Councilman Spear are absent. City Attorney Manueli.
Here.
City Treasurer Trask. Here. City Engineer Omberg. City Police Chief Henry.
Here.
That's all, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. With that, we'll move on to item 2, public comment. You'll have 3 minutes. Please state your name for the record.
Hey everybody, it's Kyle Horvath, Director of Tourism, for the record. 2 things. First update is that the community survey on Broadbent Park went live today at about 3:50. And so the link's been shared on the tourism Facebook page, the Main Street Facebook page. But the city's been tagged, all our media outlets and things like that. So essentially, yeah, that's up and running, and hopefully we get a good response from that, and the community lets us know what their vision is for Broadbent Park and how to better serve them. Second reason I'm here is, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to hang out till P3, but Councilman Allworth's thing about the Renaissance Village and the signage. So I guess I'm representing the Renaissance Society now. We did put in for a proposal for a grant from Travel Nevada. It is for temporary signage, and it would go on that block 1 just next to the Richfield station. And the purpose of it would be is to welcome travelers coming into the downtown with, you know, bright, kind of welcoming messages using the open and safe terminology that Travel Nevada is asking for, and essentially providing, you know, a place for information about the downtown and everything like that. The concept that you guys have in your packet is truly just a concept. Those designs can be anything, but I believe you guys are going to mull over is whether they can put those signs on light posts, which is city property, or if they would have to put them on their own signage on their own property. And of course, if they had to do that, the cost would go up and the amount of signage would go down. So Renaissance Village just, you know, would like to partner with you guys and be able to do that and be able to do that for the downtown. So thanks for putting that on, thanks for considering. Thank you.
So open for public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, on your agenda item 6B1, you're considering using the collection agency for past due accounts. The so-called outstanding past due accounts is due to the incompetent city staff. You need to hire qualified people, not someone else to do their job. At 30 days, one is late, at 60 days they are past due, and at 90 days the service is terminated if a staff member of the city clerk is a small claims court. We're just dragging this on forever. When I was mayor 10 years ago or so, the debt or outstanding accounts were $22,000. Now you're supposedly in the hundreds of thousands, and that's because of incompetence, and you need to address that. Mr. Mayor, on your agenda item 6B6, you consider abandoning property and railroad right-of-way to be exchanged with Mike Lemons. The law allows exchange for equal value. Exchanging valuable acreage, zoned commercial or industrial, for alleyways does not constitute equal value. A grave mistake was made and needs to be corrected. Mr. Lemons wanted $108,000 for alleyway. Remember that? Had he offered that instead of alleyways that can't be used for anything? Not used for anything, not even tiny houses. There's nothing short of a sweetheart deal. This needs to be turned down, and you're not harming the state NRS. Some of the council have conflicts, and they need to disclose that. I'm protesting this in the strongest of measures. Stop giving away city assets. You come down on others for no reason, and then you pull this up, that kind of stuff? No way, Mayor, no way. Mr. Mayor, on your agenda, item 64 and 5, your consider beautification requirements and possible suspension of city business licenses for failure to beautify and landscape. Let me tell you, Mayor, business is hard enough right now. Without additional mandates from the city, they can't comply with its own mandates, ADA, let alone other regulations. The council should be encouraging business, not hampering it. Stop selectively enforcing the law. If business was better, you'd see improvements. But a lot of these businesses can't do it. You can't even have people pull weeds for crying out loud. Take a close look, Mayor. I do every time I come up here. Mr. Mayor, I've been to City Hall numerous times to pick up the permit to re-roof my house at 490 High Street. I've told you to give me a dollar amount and I would pay that. You've ignored me for months. I want a written answer as to why the delay or refusal. I've told you that I am re-roofing the property, not building anything new. Your building inspector is selectively enforcing the law under color of law. You need to stop the discrimination. He's treating others differently under the same conditions and regulations. I ride around town, Mayor, I don't see many permits. I see people working on it, and here I am waiting to comply with the law and pay my fees, and you're just turning your back to me. That needs to stop. It needs to stop now.
Thank
I
you,
want
George.
that permit.
Any other public comment?
We received this email today. This is from Dale Durbridge, who's a resident and business owner. I'd like to comment today on agenda item number 5 under new business. Item to modify the city business license that would require business owners to maintain their property frontage, including landscaping. Who is qualified to determine what landscaping is appropriate? The proposal is rather vague at best. Ely is full of vacant business properties, yet Councilman Allworth is attempting to make it more difficult for businesses to succeed. Thank you for your consideration of this matter.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Seeing and hearing none, we'll move on to item 3, Mayor discussion for possible action, approval of agenda, including removal of agenda items. If there are no adjustments to the agenda, I will entertain a motion on it.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried and so ordered. Item 4, City Department reports. Fire Chief.
Good afternoon. Only got a couple things to report on. The new ambulance that we've been in agreement with, the county purchasing, should be here by the end of the month or shortly after. I believe it's in Salt Lake right now, getting all the graphics put on, radios put in, stuff like that. So that was the last update I got at the last county commission meeting. We were going to have apparatus equipment here to work on ladder 1. However, changing both front and rear sills, the guy wants to take it to the shop in Salt Lake, so they're going to come through on Saturday, pick it up, take it to Salt Lake. Hopefully we'll have it back by early next week is the turnaround time he's hoping for. And then we had our state inspection yesterday, passed it, so right now as of 3 o'clock yesterday, we're running at the paramedic level service now with the ambulance, so that all passed inspection with the state yesterday, got our license. And the volunteers at their meeting just voted in another paramedic into the volunteer organization too, so. Other than that, unless you have any questions.
Who's the new paramedic?
One of the females that's with one of the flight teams here
Oh, good.
joined up with the volunteers.
Good.
Figure she could be an asset and run on the ambulance when they're on their off time from being on flight call.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
all right.
Police Chief.
Thank you, Mayor, Councilman. Quarterly statistics, I hope everybody got a copy of them. Any questions? Thank you.
Scott, I got it.
You bet.
I just want to read something. I wrote it down or typed it up there because I couldn't remember it all. So I put this together today, so excuse me for reading it to you, but I'll give you a copy of it.
Sure.
Dated October 22nd, Sheriff Henry. About 6 months ago, City Clerk Lee sent you a letter requesting assistance in having your patrol deputies keep on the lookout for out-of-area vendors, individuals conducting business or performing services within the city limits. The goal of this request was to ensure those businesses or individuals obtain a city business license. In my opinion, it is not right when our local businesses pay for business license, pay taxes, and maintain their offices and buildings, just to have outside competition come to town and not pay for business licenses. Competition is good for the consumer, but it has to be fair. I'm not aware of any calls or emails being sent to the city regarding Jennifer's written request. Are you aware if any of your deputies have observed or reported any such activities to their sergeants or other sheriff department supervisory personnel? One city official suggested to me that maybe we should hire a code enforcement officer. My response was, we already have that in place and we're paying in excess of $550,000 a year for this service. That service is an agreement with White Pine County for enforcement of city codes along with police protection. Your deputies are patrolling and keeping the citizens and visitors to our city safe. They are the eyes on the street and no changes in the neighborhoods and business districts day to day. I'm not asking them to approach any suspect out-of-town vendors working in the community for proof of a business license, but an email, phone call in a timely manner to City Hall would alert our staff to go and investigate further. I am not discouraging outside competition, but they need to pay to play. Times are tough and outside businesses are traveling from their hometowns looking for work to support their employees and families to keep their businesses afloat. Exact same thing for our local businesses are struggling to do so also. Thank you. You know, I don't expect no answer, but pass that to you.
No, that's perfectly fine, yeah. I know what the usual process is Jennifer will usually contact the sheriff's office. Sometimes it's through an email to me, or sometimes it's actually a call for service. Once we get that, the officers go right down and question the individual. If they don't have the business license, we advise them that they have to come to City Hall, acquire the appropriate business license, or stop doing business within the city immediately. That's our patented answer that we give everybody. So they either come and get the appropriate license or they're shut down. If they refuse to shut down, then we'll go ahead and issue the citation, and if the violation occurs, then the second is an arrest. I can actually do the research for you for the last 6 months to see how many of those we've done, if that's what you'd like. But that's our patented response to those type of violations.
So if I understood you right, the city has to initiate the call to you folks.
We have to get a complaint. I mean, we could stop and look at every vendor that's out there, of course, but usually what happens is within a matter of an hour after they set up, we're actually getting the call if they're not licensed, and it's actually coming from the city staff, because they already know. We don't know if they came and got a license, but the city does, so they'll actually report it to us and we can move forward. But if the guys have time, they'll actually stop and talk to them and verify the license, yes.
Again, I know personally, I came to City Hall, emailed them and said, what about this guy at the corner of 5th and Main, whatever. And then we send somebody in to go check them, and probably 9.9 times out of 10, they have no business license.
Probably.
So that's the city councilman doing his due diligence, patrol, driving around town, whatever, but your deputies, in my opinion, they're patrolling. They see the change daily. If they go to our place too, and there's a refrigeration guy there, and no city official or city employee, and I believe Jennifer's gonna talk to the department heads and try to get them motivated to do the same thing. But if you got that plan in place, I don't know how successful it's working.
Yeah, and I've seen the deputies stop out. I know the gentleman that was selling the steaks on the corner up by, I think it's the Family Dollar too. I actually drove by and seen one of my deputies out speaking to him, so I knew that he was actually checking his license. So it does happen, but I would probably say, Jim, probably 75% does come from a report from the city to go check on this business.
Okay.
Okay. Sometimes it's a door-to-door. We'll get a call of somebody that's actually going door-to-door and selling things, and we'll get a call from a person that they knock on the door saying, hey, this guy just stopped by my house. So then we, of course, directly try to locate that person in that neighborhood and check on them to make sure that they are who they are and also have the proper licensing.
Yeah, 'cause they do that moves real fast if you tell
Yeah,
them,
they do.
you know.
They
so.
really do.
All right, well, again,
Yeah.
Jennifer's effort, she's with our employees,
Yeah.
let's see if we.
I think we have a good working relationship, but I can definitely encourage you guys to do more.
Only. There's a handful of employee and spouse, employee, child, and family.
Okay, now I want to go back and, I think it's okay to say this. My last tour of duty, we had a lot of aging employees, and our insurance rates are really high at that. Does that come into play anymore? Because I think we have basically a young workforce.
Well, this is age band now, that's the biggest
That's what?
difference. It's based on, their premiums are based on their ages now, where when back in the old days, it was as a group.
Okay.
So that's the biggest difference, and why it's brought it down is, yes, we do have younger people.
Right.
But unfortunately, that doesn't make a difference in the group, because it's based on ages.
Okay,
So,
and on the red, again, you made mention that out of network, that's 100% junk, both of them are. But we had very little out of network
And
People
most
use-
people try to
stay in, and we said that within the doctors you guys provide or approve.
yeah, so with Sierra Health and Life in the White Pine County, and then I know a lot of people travel to St. George, Cedar, Salt Lake. So when you go to St. George, or even if you go to Las Vegas, so Sierra Health and Life is actually based out of Las Vegas, so that is, we'll just say the Green Hulk of insurance out there. It's a huge monster of insurance, so there's very few doctors that do not take Sierra Health and Life. When you go to St. George and Cedar, you have the Sierra Health Network, and we've been on Sierra, what, 2 years?
Well,
Third,
this will be our second.
year, but we were on before
Before it was
Cigna, and then before it was Sierra.
Yeah.
So the employees have been used to what doctors are in and out of network. If your employees do travel to Salt Lake area, it actually, they use the United Healthcare Network, which is huge. But most of the St. George and Cedar doctors do cover this, and like I said, the employees they've been used to this network, and the doctors, and that they had, 2 years ago, we had Cigna. And so when we switched back to Sierra, I mean, there was good and bad. So no matter what carrier, even if you go to an Anthem Blue Cross, not every doctor is going to be in network. Not every prescription is going to be covered the exact same. But again, the employees have been on this plan and have used this network before.
Have you heard any, both you had any complaints from our employees?
I
There were substantial, meaningful complaints.
No, I mean, not really. The biggest complaint was when we went back to age banding, and the older people complained and the younger people were happy. But I sent out notice that Lindsay was gonna be here if anybody had questions or wanted to change or add to set up an appointment. I had 2 people. Everybody else I haven't heard a word from. So I'm gonna take that as a good sign.
So I'll be honest, the biggest complaint that I hear from Sierra, which there are other small employers in White Pine County that have Sierra Health and Life, even people in Mesquite that I insure, the biggest issue is if you are scheduling a surgery and the pre-authorization, that is the biggest thing that we hear. And it's also with United Healthcare. So at the left group, I have United Healthcare. And when my son had to get surgery, I had the same issue. So it's not just Sierra, because Sierra and United Healthcare are sisters, cousins, and some weird health care. So that's the only issue that I hear. But even, like I said, United Healthcare still has that same issue. And doctors don't like United Healthcare for whatever reason. They don't like them. So that's what I think, that's where there's a little,
The pre-approval is almost a norm now.
yeah, so, but that's the only bad thing I've heard. Other than that, I mean, in Nevada, it's like in Utah, if anybody's familiar with Select Health, so that's our big monster of insurance company, that's Sierra Health and Life for Nevada. Did you have a question?
Well, I was just to your point, I have Sierra Health and Life through my job, and I've never had an issue in Salt Lake City. My kid's pediatrician is there, and yeah, so many people travel there, but I've never had an issue.
And also Reno has a really good network for them. I don't know the Reno area very well, but they also, because I know some people might travel to Reno, but but I think that's pretty far, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 5 hours.
Yeah, true.
Farther than Vegas.
Farther than
Anyway,
Vegas.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask the city treasurer, so the plus $2,000 increase is in your revised budget? covered?
Yes, I budgeted for a 15% increase, so
Okay,
we're
tell her
already
that.
covered.
I came bearing good news.
Okay. With that, I'll entertain a motion on this removal. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'll see you tomorrow.
Motion passes. Item 8, council member, city clerk Lee. Discussion for possible action, approval to hold one regular meeting in November and December on November 12th and December 10th due to the holidays. I'll entertain a motion on that.
Move to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item passes. With that, we move on to item 7, public comment. Please state your name for the record and go ahead 3 minutes.
You want to talk about beautification, Mary, you may want to look on Avenue D and look at the coconut tree or the bones by the city council. You guys are coming out of the woodwork here, crying out loud. Take care of the obvious, then worry about the others. You haven't talked to any of these business people. Shame on you. Shame on you. You got a multi-million-dollar property, and a person goes out to have coffee, and they got to look at signs like, God forgives, but I don't. Owned by the city council, bite me. I don't know what status you guys came from, but you're in the wrong place. Take a hike. This is crazy. You have no shame. Mr. Mayor, I'm going to remind you that the city has yet to reimburse me for the expenditure that I incurred for curing a sewer problem at 681 Parker. That was the city's responsibility. Interest of 2% a month is being assessed in addition to the late fee. The amount due as of September, I haven't put in October yet, is $7,318.37. I want my money. You guys are selectively enforcing law and it needs to stop. At some point, I'm going to find some federal help. And when I do, I'm going to give them a copy of all of this. Stop selectively enforcing the law. Mr. Mayor, on numerous occasions I've asked and I've presented a request for public information in regards to former Councilman Jolene Gardner receiving thousands of dollars from the city of Ely, having encroached onto her property. Councilman Allworth was the city clerk at the time, and treasurer tasked me to sign the check that was approved by the city council then. I want to know how much she was given, 5,000, 10,000? You've got the players on hand, I want to know. Mr. Mayor, several previous meetings I've reported that numerous RVs, possibly squatters, are setting up throughout the city. How many of them did you collect and bill for landfill, water, or sewer? It's not getting any better. I can't use my property, yet in my neighborhood there's others that are doing so, and you haven't done a dang thing. Stop the discrimination there or resign. One of the two. You got lame staff. And your staff is stiffing me, and it's going to stop. Do one or the other. Do your job or get out. I'm going to give you numerous pictures, Mayor, and I've also been to the doggone Planning Commission. You guys are regulating the hell out of us, and nothing is happening. You're stifling growth. That's not what you were elected for. That's not what you said you were going to do, but that's exactly what you are doing. Mr. Mayor, NRS forbids public employees or officials from having preference in buying or selling public property. I've yet to hear or see anything on the 490 linear feet of 16-inch steel pipe. That's an obligation of the city to account for that. If you're going to sell it, it needs to go to public auction. You can't just give it to one of your sweetheart buddies. And that's what you apparently have done, unless you can prove differently.
Thank you.
I want some accountability, Mayor.
Any other public comment? Hearing and seeing none, I will move on to adjournment. Okay, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing so ordered. Thank you. Any things we need to sign tonight, Jennifer?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to start early though.
This has been a Georgetown production. George Chachis reporting.
Are except for Nevada. So that was kind of one of the things I thought, well, the council's interested in just being consistent on those roadways down there through Central Ely, then I'll just stick with the 20. But I'll leave that up to you guys.
Any other questions on the reports? I'll entertain a motion on the side.
I'll make the motion to approve the speed study that lower the speed limit down to 20 miles an hour so it's consistent in that whole area of town.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Item 3, Councilman Alwar's discussion for possible action, approval for Ely Renaissance Society to attach temporary signage indicating Ely is open and safe on the light poles in the first block at the west end of Altman Street. The Travel Nevada's COVID-19 Road Recovery Grant would pay for signage if awarded.
Cal's done a great presentation on that. Again, you know, the signage, this is our conception of it. And I asked him and Caroline McIntosh, who are spearheading this, if we use, the light poles we would use as the concrete decorative ones we have, it would be attached with the stainless steel bands.
Like we did. Okay, I'll entertain a motion on this.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item 4, Councilman Alwar's discussion for possible action, approval to notify commercial businesses fronting Great Basin Boulevard to Pierce Highway within Ely city limits in both Altman and East Altman, that they have a responsibility for the upkeep and beautification of their properties, including landscaping. Councilman Alward.
Okay, I listened to one public comment read to us. The landscaping I'm talking about is landscaping that is already established. We have multi-million-dollar businesses put in, and they have let their landscaping just deteriorate. Down the, I mean, it's mostly on the Great Basin, the two entries in coming from Vegas and coming from the north, we're given an impression, first impression means a lot. People come through, and here we are, businesses, grass is dead, trees are dying, nothing's being done. I mean, if you can afford a multi-million-dollar business, I think you can afford to upkeep your landscape. I'm not requesting or even throwing the idea out there, you gotta go out there and plant trees in your place. But if it was already established, why aren't they taking care of it? And once again, it's an impression, you know, that's what I look at. We're trying to make our city pretty, and our blight committee, we have our hands full dealing with houses in residential areas. So the businesses, the business. And then I look at it and I think, well, maybe I should use the word commercial property. Right on Main Street here in Ely, we got some commercial property, the weeds are over 2 feet tall. And my first tour of duty with the city, we wrote letters to the people that come in and clean it. I gave you a prime example, the lot across from Karen's new shop, the old Ford garage, the owner of that lives in Mexico. He took care of that lot. He made corrections to get that lot, all the weeds picked up, the parking lot for the mine. So it's possible to do it, but we maybe have to push a little bit more. But once again, I'm not saying the city's gonna say you're gonna plant 5 trees and all this, but what's out there, I mean, the season's coming to an end now. Even our yards are gonna start turning brown. But we gotta put something, in my opinion, put something in place, start watering it. The Great Basin, 99% of traffic going through this town goes that way. The traffic study, 10,000 vehicles a day go through the junction. And if people drive through and what do they see? Dead grass.
Well, when a lot of those were put in, like Love's and the Family Dollar, I think, too, were some of the worst ones. Wasn't there a requirement that they put in some landscaping and they had to get that plan approved by the city? When that got put in? Because I think we did that when we built my parents' building as well. We had to come with a landscaping plan.
We just need to enforce it then?
Well, and I talked briefly with the attorney about that before the meeting as well. He was going to research where that is, because I don't recall where that requirement is. I know we did it, but I don't know much.
And I looked through the ordinance before the meeting, I didn't find any specific ordinance in which we could attach that requirement to. I can keep looking, it was just about an hour before the meeting, I wasn't clear on the item, what was meant by it. But with that knowledge now, I can look more specifically into it, but there was nothing indicating where that requirement would have been found. So there's no ordinance that I saw currently that we could attach that requirement to.
Well, I definitely agree. If we required them to put it in, they should be required to keep it up. But I don't know if there's something already existing, or if we need to add something, I think we should.
Well, I mean, at the very least, excessive weeds. I know it was several months ago, but at Roberto's, there was just weeds growing all over the place. So, I mean, it's hard to put a hard requirement on what the landscape has to look like, but it doesn't cost anything for the business owner to pull some weeds. So I don't see where that would be an issue.
So I mean, what would your recommendation be, Jim? Do you want to?
I think, you know, again, as I read this and listen to Mr. Durbage's, you know, concern, and maybe the wording and responsibility for the upkeep and beautification, I want to say my point was not to make them plant trees and shrubbery of a certain style. It's what if it's already there, maintain it.
So, but, okay, so I have a further question then to Mr. Durbage's email. They have a, I don't know what to call it, a wrecking yard or whatever, that faces the main street. The downtown tire shop has a huge amount of tires in the front of it. So how are we gonna decipher how that?
Well, in a situation like Councilman Alwar's talking about, I mean, there's no landscaping existing at the wrecking yard, but they do keep the weeds down for the most part.
Sure, yeah.
But there are businesses that did put in landscaping, and now the trees are dead, the bushes are overgrown, and there's weeds coming out through all the landscaping rock, and certainly, I don't know, doing something about that isn't that what you're
Yeah,
discussing?
that's my intent. I mean, again, like Mr. Durbage pointed out, valid point, times are tough.
Sure.
You know, for him, for auto wrecking or Durbage's towing, to go and put those decorative slats in, trust me, I know they're expensive. You know, it's a lot of cost, maybe times get better. But again, you know, when I'm talking about the businesses that are open right now, they're making money, you know. Again, trying to beautify what the tourists and people see coming through our town. But then you're right on Main Street, down there in Altman, the business is not, it's closed business or closed buildings, commercial property, the old Coca-Cola plant.
Yeah.
The parking lot is full of weeds, 3 feet tall. But see, again, the way I put this on, notify commercial businesses. Well, that's not a business at this time, it's just a building, so that's why, you know, I mean, the wording on this, maybe I have to table this and clean up the wording so it's a little.
Well, and give the attorney some time to research what's already been required for them to put that in, maybe might be a good idea, and we can talk about it on the.
That sounds like a plan.
So, would that be a motion to?
Yeah,
Table.
and I think tabling is a good idea, because one of my other thoughts was whether this was putting the cart before the horse with your next agenda item. Maybe we do need to add a requirement somewhere in order to give that notification if we don't currently have it.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion in a second.
I'll make the motion to table item 4.
Do I have a second on that?
I'll second.
All in favor of table?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried, so ordered. Item 5, Councilman Howard, discussion for possible action, approval to modify city business license to include a provision for business owners to maintain their property frontage, including landscaping. Failure to do so could result in suspension of city business license.
I'll make the motion to table that, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Second.
And then, just to address that from Mr. Allworth, I don't know if you're aware, but we're in the process of revamping and rewriting the business ordinance or business license.
Okay.
So we're going to have a draft
For next.
and
or
some
November.
ideas for the next meeting, for the council to go over as well, which can be added or subtracted from to as well.
Thank you.
Okay. So I have a motion to table, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 6, council members, city attorney Manueli, discussion for possible action, approval of resolution number 2020-10, abandoning property and railroad right-of-way previously agreed to be exchanged with Mike Lemon pursuant to resolution 2013-04.
So I prepared this resolution. From my research and understanding, in 2013, this property was intended to be abandoned at that time. It was not, there were some issues there, and so what we're looking to do is be consistent with that 2013 resolution, complete that action. This has gone before the railroad board, I believe last week, and was approved through them. So we have their approval, and the resolution would be to abandon that area in accordance with the railroad board's agreement as well, and complete that action that was desired to be completed back in 2013.
Are there any questions regarding this for the attorney?
That's valuable property, Counselor. It's not a simple alley.
And it was previously,
They made a mistake, a big one.
Thank you, George.
Thank
so
you.
2013, it was previously, it was done. It's been done in 2013, and we're correcting the mistake in 2013, but the value was discussed in that 2013 resolution.
Highway robbery.
If there are no discussions for the council, NRS provides the power to either acquire or dispose of city property to the city council exclusively. And we will entertain a motion from them.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Further discussion on the second? All in favor? Any opposed? Carried so ordered. Item 7, council member city treasurer Trask, discussion for possible action, Levitt Group Insurance representative, renewal proposal of American health care coverage for the city of Ely, December 1st, 2020 through November 30th, 2021. We have a representative from.
Hi, I'm Lindsay, I'm with the Levitt Group. Did everyone receive one of these packets? Okay. So, a few things. I've been in contact with Jeanette over the last couple of weeks in regards to the renewal. If you turn to the first page, that is the renewal that we received from Sierra Health and Life. So in the past years, we've went to Aetna, Anthem, and then we also have Cigna as a big player in the area now. So I'll just review. So Anthem's rates are usually anywhere from 20, sometimes even 40% higher than Sierra Health and Life. Aetna requires an application from each employee, no matter if they're waiving or if they're applying, or if they're enrolling, excuse me. And so I know that's hard with the employees of the city. Cigna is based on the health of the group. Previous years, we've ran it, and it's run through a GRX program, so it's run through all of the prescriptions that everybody is taking on the plan. And that's anybody that is, again, enrolling or waiving insurance. And in the past, it's always come back super high. So that's why when I talked to Jeanette a few weeks ago, she said that she wanted to stay with Sierra Health and Life. So with that, they did give you guys, it's a 5%, it's actually I think 4.7, 4.8% renewal, which is pretty good. With all of the other public entities in White Pine, we do the insurance as well. And that's, so the school district, I think they got a 13%. The county, I can't remember off the top of my head, but they got under 10 as well. And that, obviously they're a larger entity, but that's usually what, in the rural area they do, you know, it's pretty awesome when you can get anything under 10%, especially with a small group. With that being said, the only change that the policy had is the out-of-pocket maximum. So anything that you see in red is changed from 2019 to going, or 2020 to going into 2021. So the out-of-pocket maximum goes from $5,200 for employee only to $5,300. Anything from two-party or more, it will go from $10,400 to $10,600. And then the out-of-pocket for the out-of-network goes up as well, but usually employees don't see any of that because Sierra Health and Life, most everything is in network. And then if you flip to the next page, it's the dental. The dental is with Best Life. I was telling Jeanette, it's with everything that's going on with COVID, dental and vision has actually been more expensive on rate increases than medical insurance, which is weird because all the dentists and optometrists have been actually closed. They were closed. So you guys did receive about a 5% increase on the dental, and then on the vision it was, you know, a few cents. Any questions for me in regards to any of the benefits?
I think so. I'll entertain a motion on this item.
I have a question. Probably to Jeanette. What's the biggest, oh, what you did there? On individual and family, would you say the percentage of our employees is family? Or,
So I can answer that.
okay, sorry.
Sorry, Jeanette. So most of your employees are employees.